Well, here we are, cruising along the river on the path. It's funny, I think I'm moving at a fast clip, and I got a couple behind me, and they're a kid, and they're gaining on me. How does that work? Shouldn't you be out for like a leisurely spin? Anywho, we're out for an almost evening walk. It is like 3:45. It's basically the sun has already set here. But I want to show you the Muul. I think that's what it's called, or the Muul. The Muul or the Muul. Anyway, join me. I'll show it to you. It's really cool. All right, let's do this. Now, it's interesting walking on this boardwalk. I do not remember this boardwalk being here 2 years ago. Maybe it was, and I just missed it because I came in via the beach. But this seems new to me. And anyway, we're following the beautiful river. Crews at work right now, loading up stuff onto the barges. And it's cleared up enough that I can actually see the Muul from here. So what it is, just so you have this understanding, is even as far back as the 1800s, 1700s, they wanted to bring trade up this river right here. And it was a challenge because the water's very, very shallow. So they dug a path using wood, and that worked for a bit until they were destroyed. So then they replaced it with like this rock, the Muul, whatever it's called. And anyway, what it does is it goes out 2 kilometers to ensure that there is basically, I won't say a dredged path, but there's a clear enough path for boats to get in and in turn trade. So there's your little history lesson. Hopefully I did it correct as it gets darker. Yeah, I totally don't remember that boardwalk thing being in here. So the Muul, the breakwaters, that's what it is. And again, it goes out 2,000 meters. And it's a little bit more shallower. I mean, the tide's out. I can't really walk on it, but we'll still try. Isn't this beautiful? Now, I'm not saying last time I walked all the way out to the end of this, but I was able to walk out for a bit. Huh. So here's where we came from. Here's where we're going. And to our left, in case you're wondering, this is the dog beach, which it's so conveniently placed. So this is conveniently placed between the dog beach and the women's only beach. Yes, we've talked about the women's only beach. Yeah, I'm not allowed there for some reason. Oh wait, I know the reason. I'm looking at myself right now and I'm like, okay, so how far did you go out on this puppy again, Jonathan? It's colder than it was last time I was here. If you didn't have the sound of that thing, it would be just like a little touch of heaven. Now, if I remember right, there's an old myth, or maybe it's not a myth, maybe this is a story, but for young couples, for the man to prove his love for his woman, he would go to the end of this and come back, or something like that. I forget what it was. But as you already see, it's kind of already covered in water at high tide. But this is the Muul. The breakwater on this side, and then over here. And I don't know if you can see it. I can see the end of it way, way, way out there. 2,000 meters. Where you can see the light from the clouds underneath, that is the end of the breakwater. And meanwhile, and then where those people are walking, the lights have come on down there, down at the beach. The first time that I came out here and I found this, Well, actually, I didn't really find it. Well, I did, but I didn't. Like, I knew that it existed because it's one of those landmarks. It's like, best things to do here in Pärnu is to go to the Muul. So anyway, when I found it, I was delighted because I was like, oh, because there was no one here. But then again, I realized it was like at 9 o'clock in the morning, end of October, tourist season's completely done. Anyway, I was excited. It's like, I came over here to see what it was like coming out of like the sand. I remember this from before. And it's awesome because where I'm from, we really don't have beaches like this. Like, you don't have the sand dunes, we really don't have the beach per se. Well, for that matter, in New Hampshire, we basically have rocks, but wow. It's magnificent, and it's untouched. I mean, I'm sure, you know, there are people here on those summer months, but for those that need to connect to the water, it definitely has a healing quality, that's for sure. That's for sure. Many of you might remember the story about footsteps in the sand. I've told it a couple times in other videos, but for people that are new to the channel or haven't heard the story or just want to hear it anyway, because some of this is about story time, there's the parable of there's a man who's walking with God along the water, and he's looking at his footsteps behind him, and he sees his footsteps, and he sees God's footsteps with him. And he says, you know, I've been faithful to you my entire life. But what I don't get is that on those most challenging times, those darkest times, you weren't walking with me. I only see one set of footprints. And God says to the man, no, you don't really, you're misunderstanding. Those were the times that I carried you and helped you through. I have that written on like a picture that I've hung in one of my rooms over the years. My mom has it, I think, in her house as well. But whenever I'm near water, whenever I'm at the beach, whenever I see the approaching darkness, but I still see the light over there, it's that story that comes to my mind. And I find the humor in it, the cosmic humor in it, because I remember telling the same story 2 years ago when I was first getting started with these vlogs and coming here. And I was right near, you guessed it, the ladies' beach. So we're leaving the dog area now and we're back at the ladies' beach. I don't see anyone sunbathing, so I think we're okay. My mom will be so proud. My common sense has finally come in. I was like, why is it so dark over there, but not as dark over here? And I was like, oh yeah, the sun's setting over here, so it's gonna take longer. Yeah, way to go. Way to go. So some people might ask, why did you choose to come to Estonia? And funny enough, I did not talk about it when I was in Tallinn. So I guess I'll mention it here. I came to Estonia since when I was only like 11, 12 years old and I started learning the Russian language. I was always fascinated by the Baltic republics that were part of the Soviet Union. at that time. And because of that fascination, you learn about different cities in Russia. So like I would learn about Moscow and St. Petersburg. And when I would look at a map and I saw St. Petersburg, and I was like, wait a second, what's that? And you'd see Finland, and then just south of Finland I saw little country known of Estonia, or that at that point in time it was part of the Soviet Union. And so this is when I was 10 years old, right near the end, if you will. A couple more years and they became their independent country. Well, fast forward to when I was in high school, and American Online came on the game. And at this time, some countries were more proactive than others in putting their countries, like the consulates or the embassies, on American Online. So one country that was on it was Estonia. And so was the country of Iceland as well. But it doesn't matter about Iceland because they never wrote back. For Estonia, though, I was able to get in to their welcoming page. And I wrote an email to the president of Estonia at the time, Leonard Meri, who was a famous playwright before he became the first president of this country. And I wasn't expecting much. I just thought it'd be fun to write to him. I mean, I also wrote to President Bill Clinton at the same time, specifically to talk about the Strategic Defense Initiative program. And it's basically the Star Wars program and how to encompass the Baltic states under that to protect them from the Soviet Union. Well, not the Soviet Union at the time, but the Russians, because at the time the pivot was the Baltic states were trying to become more part of Europe, the European Union, and all of this stuff. So what, maybe a few weeks later, I went into my American Online account email, and I had a letter from the president of Estonia thanking me for being an educated American who was familiar with the policies, and he was appreciative that there were people out me that were self-advocating, or we were advocating for the little country of Estonia out there. And from that moment, I wanted to visit Estonia, and I felt a kinship with this country. So that was in the mid-1990s. And my first time here in Estonia was only 2 years ago. Although I was in St. Petersburg in 1999, sadly, didn't get to cross the border to come over here then. So that's the connection for people that are wondering. And they're still here for our beautiful evening walk. I think most people, when they visit places, or when they try to visit places, when they aspire to visit different places, they usually have, there's a connection as to why they want to visit. Even when I visited Albania this summer, the reason why I visited Albania, it was right across from Brindisi, where I used to teach. Or the Southport of the UK. I was like, hey, this is not a big city, but it had some historical relevance for me that made me want to visit it and continue to visit it. I ended up in Poland because I used to have a Polish girlfriend. You know, everyone has a story, and everyone has different reasons that push them forward in their lives. So I'm finding the humor that tonight on the beach, where there's really not much going on, I'm giving you story time, which is very similar to the second or third vlog that I ever made. Funny how the parallels continue. All right, let's get off the beach. You know, we have these different stereotypes of the West versus the not West. Not that I'm saying that Estonia in 2024 would fall into that category, but those countries that fell in the Eastern Bloc. And all I want to say is, when I'm at like a plaza and this is the lighting, it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder. And another thing too, while we're in the poorly lit space, it's these type of scenes that I think give you like an eeriness that makes you wonder. The elephant is standing guard for us as you look on this quiet boardwalk night. I love these elephants. I'm so happy the elephants are here. I hope someone can tell me in the comments why. What brought the elephant to Estonia? That's what I want to know, specifically to this part of Estonia. Was there like a circus here that like everyone loved, that they fell in love with this specific old time elephant? Like, you can't tell me that the circus wasn't here, because I know. I know better. As you can see, the darkness has definitely, it's definitely dark now. It's only 4:30. The only thing that would make this area better would be some fresh snow. Or maybe some tea. Yeah, I think some tea would go good right now. Maybe some carrot cake. I need to find a place with some good carrot cake. I wonder if that exists here in Pärnu. So we're walking on the backside of the Hotel Victoria, a famous establishment in this city. And I'm hoping their cafe is open so I could show you what that's all about. And it looks like it is. And I see a cake. So let's go in and get some tea. All right, well, we made it into the Grand Cafe. I'm so excited. Let me show you, and I'm gonna have my tea, and I got a truffle. And I even got some cookies. Christmas trees in the middle. It's exquisite. And I'm just kind of here on this couch area. Actually, pretty much right where I was last time when I enjoyed tea and just listened to the jazz. So, cheers. I think this would be a cool venue for a wedding reception. It's a quaint, small wedding reception. Not that I saw any wedding dresses here in town, but just saying. One thing I like is I like having a real like teapot, like which is more than one glass. And by the way, these gingerbread cookies are really, really good. Well worth the money, by the way. But let's go back to tea for a second. I don't think anything is more frustrating than when I go into like a place, like a cafe, and you only buy one cup. I think it's a waste of money. I mean, truly, it really is. All right. Well, that was on my bucket list of things to do on my return trip here. I had such a good time doing that the last time that I was like, that was actually like, if I didn't do that, it would be a disappointment. So thank you to the Cafe Grand right there, and I'm sure I'll see them again someday. It's interesting too, because you know, like everyone has their favorite like cafe, and I'll be the first to say I'm not a huge cafe person, only because I feel like they're overpriced, generally speaking. Can you see the Christmas tree they have set up in there? In the wine shop? That's awesome. It's pretty. Everything's lit. So we'll go this way. But But no, I mean, I like cafes. I just don't like crowded cafes. So for me, that works perfect. That's like the perfect cafe for a introvert who doesn't want a lot of noise, but wants the cafe experience. I don't know how smart it was to have a box of cookies, but I'm trying to offset the garlic that was in the dip that I had from my earlier meal, and whatever they put on the batter of the chicken because of the allergy I have. But here, let's take a look at this. Get you in the spirit of the season still. Look at that. You know, there is something said for towns that have, that do this. Have these nice Christmas trees. I'll be excited to see what Riga does. That's our next stop tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow afternoon. That's right, it's the mall experience. Although we're not really going into the mall, we're just stopping off. I got confused. There's a Christmas tree across the street. Look. Huh. So I've been meaning to go into one of these since I arrived in the Baltics, and I'm not. It's been a while. So we're going in tonight. Into Hesburger. So here we go. So I ordered a burger. I'm going to compare it, of course, to McDonald's, because how can you not? And a tea, because I keep getting teas. But it's very clean in here. I've been here before. Well, 2 years ago. You note though, it's very clean. They have the machines, so that's nice. I don't have to stress out over talking to someone. I can just order, and now I just wait, looking at the screen. Got the burger. Let's open it up and have a look. All right, here it goes. There's a tanginess to it. I like it. I like the price too. It's only $1.80. One thing that I appreciate about this part of the world is it always brings me back to my own childhood, so like to the 1980s, because like in the mall where I just came from and from the Hesburger, like there were teenagers there just hanging out. Granted, they were on their cell phones, but they were just hanging out. They were having their meal, and then they were wandering the shopping area. And, when we had mall culture in the United States, that's what it was like. Now, not so much. And I only say that because a lot of the malls, they're not being used the same way. Where here, they've grown and grown and grown. All right. Well, we have the conservatory, I think, right behind us. Right there, the Pärnu Conservatory, which just happens to be right next to the mall. And I'm ending my night with a walk along the river right here, which is fitting because that's where we started this vlog. We were on the other side of the river walking towards the Muul. So this is where I bid you guys adieu. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, whatever you're doing, evening, night, whatever. And I'll see you again real soon. Thanks for tagging along, and until next time. Peace. The blue and white of Estonia around on the perimeter, and then the glorious tree. Awesome.